what are the key points a person should look into when they are opting for a health insurance?
You have to see what is covered. I think that's the crucial part. Critical illness, I spoke to you about. Consumables are typically yes and no. What is the room rent, room coverage? Is it cashless? What are the kind of hospitals that are covered in that?
Do you think that people in India tend to not invest or be concerned about their health?
In India, insurance is LIC. Even today, for people of our generation, if I tell them insurance, हाँ LIC पापा ने लिया है.
Yeah.
LIC is not your insurance.
What is SIP?
So SIP or systematic investment plan is a way to invest in mutual fund.
Investing in gold and doing FDs.
Yeah, it is.
Yes, completely yes.
Is buying real estate good or renting it out?
That's like
Cash
a
ready to
ever-going debate.
What do you feel about India as a country in coming 4-5 years down the line in terms of market, in terms of the potential?
India, phenomenal growth ahead, but very expensive.
Do we as Indians get enough for the tax we pay?
Aman, to just give you number, 130 करोड़ की जनता में 1.4 करोड़ तो टैक्स भरती है. तो कंप्लेन करने वाले से वही है जो कंप्लेन कर सकते हैं.
Tell me this, that how should a person invest in gold?
So I think the real confusion for people arises कि मैं वो physical gold लेकर वो सोने का सिक्का ले लूँ, कि मैं बीवी को ज्वेलरी दिला दूँ, कि मैं पेपर में डाल दूँ, right?
Right.
For all mental happiness, please buy some jewelry for your wife. But for your financial wellness, you should not do that.
So hi Chanchal and hi
Hi.
Megha. Welcome to the show,
Thank you.
the Baniya Sisters. So tell me one thing, if someone is starting their journey, like I've completed my education, I'm starting my journey as a employee now, I've started working somewhere, and I want to be aware, self-aware that my finances should be right from the day one I start my journey.
True.
So how should I go about it?
Sure. So I'll let the little Baniya go first.
So, there are few aspects that you should keep in mind when you've just started off. One of it is invest, right? All of us, at least we come across a lot of investors who feel, oh, once we have this corpus is when we'll start investing. Don't do that. Today, you can invest in mutual funds with as low as 500 rupees, right? So, invest whatever small amount it is, because you don't know how that money is going to compound tomorrow. So, that is point one. Point two is discipline. While I push a lot of my friends as well that, invest, and then, they'll start with some SIPs or some sort of investment. And then after 2 months, when they see that, okay, theek hai, maza nahi aa raha hai, or the markets are falling, that is when they stop investing. Or, there are a lot of us who are speculators. Oh, the market is falling. Oh, there's this war going over there. Market to aur girne wala hai. And then they will just stop. That we'll wait till the market bottoms out and then we'll start. Don't time the market. Because you don't really know what's going to happen tomorrow.
Right.
Don't time the market and follow that discipline to invest, right? Third and most important is insurance. A lot of them will not have their basic life and health insurance. A lot of these MNCs or the companies give you your corporate health policy, right?
Yes.
Which they feel is adequate. However, what they don't know is if you're switching your jobs and there's some gap in between that, you're not covered. And God forbid if you need your insurance, then you're just out there in the blue. So yeah, these are the three things that you should actually keep in mind, whenever you've started off.
Right. So do you think that people in India tend to not invest or be concerned about their health, or or probably there's no enough knowledge to people that they should opt for insurance because it's a priority. It's like it's something which is going to be needed for everyone.
Right. So, today in India, insurance is LIC. Even today, for people of our generation, if I tell them insurance, LIC पापा ने लिया है.
Yeah.
LIC is not your insurance. I mean, it is not your traditional, it's not giving you a life cover. You're probably investing in it to get some returns after X years, right? Depending on the policy, but that's about it. If something were to happen to you tomorrow, it's not really going to come to your help in terms of the corpus that is required, right? So I had this corporate client, some CXO of a very big MNC. And unfortunately, he passed away one day while jogging. and
Yeah.
his family, in terms of his wife, actually did not know what he had. When they sat and they started digging down, they realized he does not have his basic life insurance in place, and they had a 8 crore home loan still pending to be paid.
Oh.
Now who's going to take care of that, right? So insurance is very important. It is a synonym. I mean, you just start with your insurance first and then you do your SIPs. That is what we tell all our
That's
investors.
like the first point when you start financial planning is first you got to see what an employer is providing you.
Right.
What is the kind of insurance, what is covered, what is not covered, and you need an emergency corpus because
Right.
you could be admitted at any hour of the day, right?
Right. It's very important.
You need that additional money if you have to pay to the hospital because TPAs are not available at all points.
Right.
Second is critical illness covered? Most of us miss out on that point. That does our insurance policy cover critical illness, consumables, something as basic as that? So I think that is the first protocol. Just to add on to what Megha said, that's the first thing you have to be very cognizant on. And once you're done with that, then you start with your investments, etc.
So what are the key points a person should look into when they are opting for a health insurance? And also this question I want to ask you, do you advise people to take it online, like going through a website, or should they take it from individual person who's providing
So
it
I
to
had
them?
two experience, both broker and online, and
Yeah.
in just in the past 3
Right.
months. First, online is not that as bad, right? I mean, I'm not too sure if I can take names over here.
Yeah.
We were with this private insurance provider. The policy that we had taken online, let me tell you, it was seamless a process. They had a agent who helped us end to end. Every single thing was covered. In fact, typically your insurance policy covers 30 days of post hospitalization.
Right.
In this particular thing, we had coverage for 90 days until post hospitalization,
Wow.
right? The minute you submit the bill, everything was returned back to your account, right? So online is not as bad as as
People assume, yeah.
people assume. But just to come back to my earlier point,
Yeah.
you have to see what is covered. I think that's the crucial part. Now the
Yeah.
second part, where I had a broker, I kind of had an experience, and this is a recent hospitalization that I went through. I realized my consumables were not covered. They questioned me that why am I in hospital just because of malaria, because malaria is supposed to be a simpler thing. They had to do a video call of sorts.
Yeah,
So
that
I think
happens quite a lot of
intermediary
time, yeah.
is irrelevant in an era that we are of digitalization. Most important part is, I mean, if you can do it well, if you cannot do it, please go to somebody who's pro at it, be it your advisor, insurance broker, whoever,
Yeah.
and ask questions on what is covered. So for females, is maternity covered? When will my maternity be covered? What is the coverage, etc. Critical illness, I spoke to you about. Consumables are typically yes and no. What is the room rent, room coverage? Is it cashless? What are the kind of hospitals that are covered in that?
Right.
Because a friend again had to be hospitalized, and he realized there is no tie-up between the hospital which is next to his house
Yeah.
and the insurance provider that he's working
Like
with.
the range of hospitals
The
should
range
be
of
more,
hospitals,
yeah.
because if you're having an insurance provider and it's not in the range of hospitals in your area, then that's not
Doesn't make
helping
sense,
you.
yeah.
So I think these are the finer nitty-gritties that one should be watchful about.
Okay. And also tell me this, that do you think, like, we suggest people that, everyone should consult a doctor even if they're having something minor in their body going on. So do you think that every individual should also have a financial planner alongside to have that knowledge that what they're going to do next and what they should do next? You think it's important?
Yes and no.
Hmm.
No, if you're somebody from the field and you understand this to the core, then probably
You don't need
you're not
one,
the
yeah.
right category, right?
But the maximum people are not that pro with
I mean,
finance in
think
India.
of it as a service, right? I mean, how many times do all of us really get our health checkups done? Until and unless we got a fever or there's some issue, tell me how many times do we really go to a doctor and get that entire test done?
Right.
Probably we don't. The reason is not financial. The reason is lethargy, right? We
Right.
don't really think that it is important until there's a calamity that strikes, right? That's the same thing that happens with your financial plan, right? We think of it as कर लेंगे, हो जाएगा, अच्छा सिप तो जा ही रहा है. Is that sip adequate enough to meet your financial thing, we don't know our goals. We don't even plan about our goals. The children, marriage, retirement, vacation. There are so many goals that all of us have in life. We don't really plan about that. So this is where a financial planner needs to sit with you. It's not about where to invest, what is this best scheme that you should pick up, iska
Right.
performance अच्छा है, उसका नीचे गिर गया है. That's all secondary, honestly. Let me tell you. The first thing is list out your goals. How much is the money that you need to save every month to meet these goals, right? Now, marriage could be immediate, children could be after that, and retirement, you still have that
couple of years.
right? So, retirement के लिए you can still take that a little higher risk. But अगर शादी 2 साल में होनी है, तो then you need to trim down your risk, and that's where I think a financial advisor, comes into picture. It's always easy to get to look at those SIP numbers. 5,000 से इतना करोड़ बन जाएगा, बनेगा, but then in a systematic fashion where just like doctors, so we are your financial doctors.
No,
Yeah.
but also, a lot of our investors or they'll come and tell us AI में ऐसे invest करते हैं, let's do tech investing. We've heard defense is work. What is defense? I mean, they're just doing some sort of a mutual fund where it is investing in defense-based stock, tech stocks, कुछ नहीं पता है. इंफ्रा में कर रहे हैं because बोल रहे हैं चलो इंफ्रा बूम आ रहा है, आप करो. There is no issue in doing that. But you have to also know when you have to get out of such stocks, right? Because there can be a sector which will give you return or which will work for 1 year and then for the next 9 years it's just dead. And then there's this investor who's invested and now is stuck, right? Hence, you need an advisor who can tell you that ठीक है, कर लो infra, 1 साल में खत्म हो गया, चलो अब निकलो and let's do something else. Right? Hence, a financial advisor is completely necessary because till now, since COVID, we've only seen the markets reach a new high probably a lot of times now, right? Now, if at all there is some volatility in the market or it starts falling, is when things will go for a toss.
That's right.
Is when, I mean, we've heard of so many cases where FNO करते हैं, चलो FNO करते हैं, 89, 90%?
93.
There was this survey that 93% of people who have invested in an FNO have lost money. So it is all FOMO-based investing.
And this is by SEBI. So
FNO, can you elaborate what exactly it is for viewers?
Think of it as stock market casino, while not literally. People use futures and options market. Ideally to hedge positions, right? That is the traditional way our futures and cash market was used. So typically when you buy a stock, when you give money and buy a stock, that is called the cash market, right?
Right.
But when you need to hedge that position, when you need to trade on that position, earlier it was more tactical where, these hedge funds used to use it. Given the quick money that it has, a lot of retail investors have started taking FNO positions, which is quick money, right? You take a 1 month call, you take a smaller tenure call, and you get in and get out of that. Right? So this was a SEBI study that Megha is referring to, which said that retails have lost 60,000 crores in the FNO market. Right?
And that's retail.
That's
it's
retail.
You and me.
It's people like us, your friends, my friends, and speak to 10 of your friends just to ask them if you trade, and ask them what is the money that you've lost. You'll kind of have that database on your platter.
And the reason for that is?
FOMO, quick money.
Right.
मेरे friend ने इतना बनाया है, market में इतना गया है.
So do you think that people are getting influenced very fast, but they are not going deep down the knowledge they should consume
completely? So in a rising market, all of us get influenced, and with all of us, I mean the investors, right?
Right.
Aman made money, Chanchal made money, chalo even I'm going to make money.
Yeah.
How, if they are making money, मैं क्यों नहीं बना सकता? Aman ने ये stock लिया, चलो मैं भी ले लेता हूँ, right? That is what people are doing. And this is a rising market. A lot of stocks or mutual funds or a lot of investments which probably are not really good have also given returns. Now is going to be the real story when tomorrow, I don't know, but if market corrects or if there's volatility which is going on right now, it's not hidden, that is when you'll really realize that, okay, the stock that Aman picked is probably not nice. He must have, picked it in a good market, sold it off and made his money, but he's not making money. Others are not.
Yeah, so before people used to hide what they're earning. So at least now they're discussing what they should do with it.
And they've, I think, understood the need for somebody to ask somebody. Erstwhile, it was more, अरे सोना ले लो, property में डाल दो, चलो FD बना दो. If you are a Marwadi, then किसी को ब्याज दे दो.
हाँ, these are the basic fundamentals we were aware of.
You kind of had. Stock market तो चलो gamble है, कभी बढ़ता है, कभी जाता है. बट उसका भी एक ट्रेंड होता है, साइकिल होता है, आर यू प्लेइंग द साइकिल राइट, वो पार्ट मिस आउट हो जाता है.
So tell me this now. This is a question which I want to ask you because very casually people come and say that do SIP.
Yes.
They don't even know the full form.
Yeah.
Half of them.
Yes.
And so you know, for someone, for a layman to understand what is SIP, what is mutual funds, and XYZ, what are like these, you know, these topics which we hear of quite often,
Got it.
even in reels and casually day-to-day life. What does it
SIP,
do?
SWP, go for it.
Yeah.
So, I'll just talk about mutual funds. So,
Yeah.
unlike a stock where there are 10 stocks, and if you have the expertise, you invest. Otherwise, for people like a normal layman, we will not really know कहाँ करना है. तो एक म्यूचुअल फंड आता है ये सिनेरियो में, जहाँ पे फॉर एग्जांपल एक लार्ज कैप म्यूचुअल फंड है, ठीक है, उन्होंने यू नो not 10 but just as an example they've picked some 20 30 40 large cap giant cap companies and they formed this mutual fund. That is about it. So that is what your mutual fund is. Basis theme आपके बहुत म्यूचुअल फंड होते हैं. एक लार्ज कैप हो गया, स्मॉल होता है जहाँ पे स्मॉल माइक्रो कंपनीज में इन्वेस्ट हो रहे. देर आर डेट म्यूचुअल फंड्स, उसमें भी थीम्स है. गिल्ट म्यूचुअल फंड होता है where they invest in G-Secs, government securities, etc etc etc. So that is what a mutual fund is, right? What is an SIP now? So SIP or systematic investment plan is a way to invest in mutual fund. हम इन्वेस्टर्स को बोलते तो बोलते हम SIP कर रहे हैं, हम SIP में इन्वेस्ट कर रहे हैं. आप SIP में इन्वेस्ट नहीं कर रहे हो, आप SIP कर रहे हो, राइट? सो देयर आर 2 ways टू इन्वेस्ट इन अ म्यूचुअल फंड. वन इज लम्प सम, द अदर इज SIP. सो लम्प सम इज वही आपने कॉर्पस डाल दिया एंड छोड़ दिया. SIP इज एवरी मंथ, वीक, whatever you want to decide. A fixed amount is going to a predetermined fund, right? And that happens on the frequency that you've decided. So that is what an SIP is. And mutual fund is.
SWP is systematic withdrawal plan, कि आपने इन्वेस्ट तो कर दिया, अभी आप 20-25 साल के हो, आपने इन्वेस्ट तो कर दिया, SIP करते जा रहे हो 60 तक, अब तो निकालने की बारी आ गई. लोग पेंशन फंड्स के लिए यूज़ करते हैं. सो थिंक ऑफ इट एज अ पेंशन, सेइंग दैट तब शायद मुझे 1 लाख रुपए महीने लगेगा, तो मैं वो भी सेट कर सकता हूँ, सेइंग दैट मुझे हर 1 लाख रुपए हर महीने चाहिए. दे विल सिस्टमैटिकली गिव यू दैट 1 lakh every month at the time of your retirement, and your balance corpus still keeps on growing. So that's SWP, systematic withdrawal plan. हम हमेशा इन्वेस्ट के बारे में बताते हैं, पर आप म्यूचुअल फंड से विड्रॉ भी कर सकते हो, एंड एनी म्यूचुअल फंड. जनरली लोग म्यूचुअल फंड सुनकर स्टॉक्स प्रिज्यूम करते हैं कि अरे मार्केट में इन्वेस्ट हो रहा है, मार्केट ऊपर. आपको पता है डेट का भी म्यूचुअल फंड होता है, जो या तो सिर्फ गवर्नमेंट पेपर्स में इन्वेस्ट करता है या तो कोई कॉर्पोरेट्स के पेपर्स में इन्वेस्ट करता है, राइट? तो वो तो फिक्स रेट हुआ, राइट? बिकॉज वहाँ पे थोड़ा बहुत रेट ऊपर नीचे होता है, बट जनरली दीज आर नॉट समथिंग दैट यू लूज योर मनी ऑन, राइट? बिकॉज ये गवर्नमेंट बैक्ड होता है प्रैक्टिकली. एक गोल्ड का भी SIP होता है, तो आप गोल्ड में भी SIP कर सकते हो, आप सिल्वर में भी SIP कर सकते हो, राइट? वी टिपिकली टेल पीपल कि आप अपना पोर्टफोलियो उस तरीके से बनाओ कि दैट आप छोटा कॉर्पस इक्विटी में लो, डेट में लो, गोल्ड में लो, डिपेंडिंग ऑन, लाइक आई सेड, गोल्स, राइट? व्हाट योर गोल्स आर, राइट? दैट इज व्हाट इज एसेट एलोकेशन. Allocate between your different baskets. तो SIP म्यूचुअल फंड मतलब स्टॉक्स नहीं है. इनफैक्ट स्टॉक्स में भी बहुत सारी कैटेगरी होती है जहाँ पे हम लोगों को टैक्टिकली बोलते हैं कि आपको लार्ज कैप लेना चाहिए, मिड लेना चाहिए, स्मॉल जाना चाहिए, डिपेंडिंग ऑन इनके वैल्यूएशंस क्या है, आपके गोल्स और आपके रिस्क टेकिंग एबिलिटीज क्या है. सो इट्स अ प्लैटर, इट्स लाइक अ बुफे. You pick and choose different things depending on what you like, what your appetite is.
SIP is more like a disciplined way of investing, right? If I just leave it to you and I tell you, you know what, invest every month, you'll be like, हाँ कर दूंगा. 2 months you will, and the 3rd month you'll forget. So SIP actually gets that discipline in you that, okay, this is just getting debited from my account, it's getting invested without you having to do anything.
Yeah.
And that, makes things very easy for investors, layman investor, right? People who DIY investors who probably don't really know what else to do.
Right.
So hence SIP comes into, I know it's important then.
I asked you initially, like if someone started a job, so about that if I'm an employee in a company, my salary is 25-30,000 and I want to start investing. What should be my first thing to go for? Like my health insurance is there.
Yes.
I have taken my health insurance. So what about my investment? Like, should I start uh, doing the share market thing, or should I buy stocks and hold it? Like, do the long term share market and not do the, that what do you call that, intra trading or whatever, that everyday
F&O,
trading?
yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
So before that, you divide your money in three parts.
Okay.
It's called the 30-30-40 rule. One, you keep your expenses within 30. In the next 30, you use it for your luxury, spend, roam, whatever you want to do, right? The 40 is where you invest. So point number one is that. You have to keep that clear. Second point, where do you invest? Now it also depends on your time horizon and your risk appetite. You can invest for a year to probably get a new bike, or you can invest for 15 years for your child's higher education. It
Right.
will differ. Second, set your goal, right? First, if you want to invest for a year, you cannot do equity. And if you want to do it for 15 years, please do not do debt. So, second is first, you just set your goal. And third is when you start investing. If it's a long term horizon investment, you look at options, segregate your portfolio. Like Chanchal spoke about asset allocation. Look at equity, look at gold, go to your advisor, let him or her tell you that ठीक है इतना है तो चलो आप ये करो ये करो ये करो. Do that. So, and of course, insurance is what you already told me. So, these are 2-3 things that you should do when you've just started off. You have your 20-30K, come into your account every month. Because I, like, both of us have seen so many of them who get, चलो 25 आ रहा है, 10 I need for my XYZ, 15 डाल देते हैं. And it's so difficult for them to even live through the entire month because
Right.
the money is invested. Now, while that is education, financial education literacy to the max, but we don't need that.
Right.
You need money to live and enjoy, otherwise you'll really start hating the entire process of investing. So
I
that's my
think
two cents.
that's largely what
Yeah.
it's about. Typically पहले हम लोग 60-40 rule बोलते थे as rookie advisors. वो 60 debt में डाल दो, 60 equity में डाल दो, 40 debt में डाल दो, and your life is sorted. Second principle आया कि 100 minus your age, which means that अगर आप 25 साल के हो, 100 minus 25, 75% equity में डाल दो, 25 debt में डाल दो. तो ऐसा नहीं होता. This is very layman way of investing because सबके life के goals बहुत अलग है.
Right.
शायद अमन आपको आपका हॉलिडे प्लान करना हो, आपसे रिटायरमेंट में दे दे, बट यार मुझे तो एक इंटरनेशनल वेकेशन चाहिए. जब आप वेकेशन पे जाते हो, देयर इज अ ह्यूज कॉर्पस दैट इज नीडेड, व्हिच शेक्स अप द फाइनेंसेस, राइट? यू स्टार्ट योर वेकेशन प्लानिंग, राइट? सो वेकेशन प्लानिंग का शायद जो एलोकेशन हो वो थोड़ा डिफरेंट हो. नाउ यू हैव अ रिस्क टेकिंग एबिलिटी, लेट मी टेल यू दैट. बट शायद आपके वेकेशन प्लानिंग में हम थोड़ा सा ज्यादा लार्ज कैप ले लें, डेट ले लें. Retirement के लिए then there is a larger risk taking ability. So for example for Sir, he will be like, यार मुझे तो बच्चे की पढ़ाई के लिए 3 साल में पैसा देना, this is very sticky money, right? I'm very risk averse, तो मुझे डर लगता है. Maybe for him we'll plan something differently, right? So even if, and both of you are, let's assume 25-year-old, right?
Yeah.
तो 100 minus 25 में तो मुझे दोनों का 75 इक्विटी में डाल देना चाहिए था. बिल्कुल नहीं होगा, ऐसा होगा. Right? So it is very, I mean, making somebody's portfolio just basis these rules, I think we think it's a little layman. Everybody is different, everybody's portfolio is different, everybody's needs are different, which is where we say that we create your charter. This is your charter, these are your long term short term goals. ऐसे आपका planning होना चाहिए, right? That's what an advisor would do for you versus a robo advisor, which would just pull out things and make that more mechanical.
So do you still suggest people of going the old traditional way of investing in gold and doing FDs? Is it still relevant in
Gold,
today's time?
yes.
Yeah, it is,
Yes,
yes.
completely yes. In fact, I'll speak about gold because that's very closer to my heart, and Megha will take up the FD part of it, and this is very important what you're going to tell.
Gold has to be, because you're a female, so
No, it's not that.
girls love gold, yeah.
No, we do.
Well, we
but,
do, yes.
No, from a financial investment perspective as well, yes.
Okay.
I mean, we started talking about gold, and you can just go back and check. We recommended the first SGB which was issued, that you should just invest into that, and after that, all sovereign gold bond which was issued by the government of India, we've recommended our clients to invest into that. I mean, it was a simple math. You are paid basis what the gold price appreciation is, right? So your gold price appreciation is locked. Plus आपको 2.5% interest आता है हर साल. राइट. सो थिंक ऑफ दैट गैप कि आपको 2.5% इंटरेस्ट आ रहा है प्लस आपको गोल्ड का अपसाइड मिल रहा है, और अगर आपने 8 साल तक पूरा रखा, so then it is completely tax free. As Indians, we love saving up on tax, right? The first SGB, if I am not wrong, उसका annualized return 25 से 30% है. That's a massive number. आप सोचिए कि गोल्ड का पेपर इन्वेस्टमेंट आपको ये रिटर्न दे रहा है. इनफैक्ट सो मच सो आई थिंक नेक्स्ट SGB इशू अब तक आया ही नहीं है. लास्ट समर Jan-Feb में आया था, उसके बाद अब तक आया ही नहीं है. So that was a no-brainer. It's still a no-brainer if somebody wants to invest in gold. Secondary sovereign gold bonds, typically आपको exchange पे you can buy it through your any demat hold provider. That still makes sense because समझिए आपको 2.5% इंटरेस्ट मिल रहा है, राइट? अगर आप वही गोल्ड म्यूचुअल फंड या किसी में डाल रहे हैं तो आपका टिपिकल एक्सपेंस रेशियो 0.5% होता है. तो 2.5% यहाँ पे मिल रहा है, यहाँ पे 0.5% जा रहा है, राइट? तो 3% का तो आपके पास स्ट्रेट कट लेवरेज है. प्रॉब्लम आती है कि कहीं कहीं वॉल्यूम नहीं मिलता बिकॉज दीज आर वेरी थिनली ट्रेडेड इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स एंड यू नो इट्स नॉट दैट ईजी टू बाय. शायद आपको हर रोज उतना ट्रेड नहीं मिले, सो दैट्स अ सेटबैक. बट अगर आप होल्ड टू मेच्योरिटी कर सकते हो, gold SGB is still a no-brainer, and I know the prices of gold today. Diwali ये वो. In fact, just getting out of the house, my husband was like, gold लेना है, कब लेना है बता. You can't time it, right? सेकेंड चीज, गोल्ड हमेशा हेज हुआ करता था. हम हमेशा बोलते थे अरे वो डेट नीचे जाएगा, इक्विटी नीचे जाएगा, गोल्ड ऊपर जाएगा, वो नेगेटिव कोरिलेशन चलेगा, राइट? इसीलिए हम गोल्ड लेते थे कि बुरे समय में काम आएगा, राइट? हमेशा गोल्ड हम वैसे लेते थे. आप लास्ट 1 साल का रिटर्न देखिए. फर्स्ट बेस्ट परफॉर्मर इज US, सेकेंड बेस्ट परफॉर्मर इज गोल्ड, एंड इफ यू सी US bonds have also given पॉजिटिव. तो जहां पॉजिटिव हर जगह चल रहा है मतलब कुछ टूट गया है. नेगेटिव हेज होना चाहिए. नेगेटिव हेज तो है ही नहीं, सब पैसे दे रहे, एवरीथिंग इज ग्रीन. हाउ? समथिंग इज ब्रोकन अप, राइट? वी हैव हर्ड लॉट ऑफ स्टोरीज अबाउट सेंट्रल बैंकर्स बाइंग बैक गोल्ड. लोग अपने देश में वापस गोल्ड मंगवा रहे हैं टू कीप देयर गोल्ड सेफ विद देमसेल्व्स. आई डोंट नो, रियल रीजन नहीं पता. दूसरा थियोरी है दैट UK माइट नॉट हैव इनफ गोल्ड रिजर्व जितना कॉन्ट्रैक्ट्स है, जितने ETF कॉन्ट्रैक्ट्स चल रहे हैं. तो शायद वो ETF कॉन्ट्रैक्ट जो आइडियली फिजिकल गोल्ड से बैक्ड होने चाहिए वो नहीं हो रहे, राइट? सो दीज आर ऑल कॉन्स्पिरेसी थियोरीज, ट्रू थियोरीज, आई डोंट नो, बट दैट कुड बी वन ऑफ द रीजंस. सो hands down, even if at this price, I am perma positive on that FD.
So no, we are asset allocators, Aman. For us, it's not only equity, it's not only those fancy products that you're seeing in the market. For us, we are really going to sit down, look at all the assets, how they are doing, and then allocate your money. And that allocation is going to depend on your time horizon, your risk, right? So for example, in your portfolio, I might just keep debt very high and equity low versus me, even if we are of the same age.
Right.
So gold and FD, both of them, yes, we look at. Now, as far as FD is concerned, I think, and I'm not an economist, but I think the interest rate hike has peaked out in India. I think so. And from now, the only thing that can happen is there's going to be a rate cut. Again, this is my theory. Most of your banks currently, for senior citizens, for example, they're giving your FD return at an 8%, a little more than 8% as well.
Yeah.
I think it's a really good time to park some part of your money in an FD, and that can be for your year, for your 1 year horizon, 1.5 year horizon. That's it, right?
But that kind of interest rate is only for the senior citizen. What about someone who's?
It's a little sub 8% then, I'm still seeing a 7.2, 7.3 if you're going for I don't know if I can name them, but the Shrirams, what do they even NBFCs,
so the corporate FDs that
corporate FDs.
But are NBFCs safe for an FD?
I mean, those are triple rated NBFCs, right? So if things had to go down their way, a lot of us will be hurt on the equity market side, right? So if things have to go down, वो सब साथ में जाएंगे. So to that part, I think it's good. Also, we look at the negative correlation because आपके taxes हर साल कट रहे. So if,
true. I mean, what most people don't know, even my parents till date, they're like FD कर दो, चलो कोई बात नहीं, कर लो. 7% you're doing you're getting in an FD. Let's just consider that as an example. And if you're in the highest tax bracket, you're paying 30% tax on it.
Right.
Even if your FD is a 3-year FD, you end up paying taxes every year on it. No matter your money is still invested, you're getting out nothing. You have to pay your taxes on it.
Yes.
Versus, for example, a debt mutual fund, right? If I take a safe debt mutual fund where I'm not taking any credit risk, nothing, very plain vanilla, it will probably give you the same type of return, but you're not paying any gains on it, any taxes on it till the time you're not selling it, right? And plus, I mean, now of course the rules have changed, but earlier debt mutual funds used to come with a lot of tax saving caveats as well. So if you are somebody who had invested pre 2020, 3 years, etc., you actually end up saving a lot on your taxes as well. So to answer your
Right.
questions, gold and FD, yes, but you have to not put all your money in it.
Yeah, FD is like that
Okay.
चूहा in your bank account. वो धीरे धीरे आपके पैसे काट रहा है और आपको पता नहीं चल रहा है कैसे. 7-7.5% का रेट है, आपने 30% टैक्स दे दिया, नेट
4.95 कुछ हो रहा
5 के
है,
आसपास बचा.
आपका इन्फ्लेशन ही 6-6.5% चल रहा है, तो you're not making money, you're losing money in FD.
Which is what most of us don't
Okay.
realize.
Yeah.
Nobody does. Yeah.
Nobody does.
हमने आई थिंक कितनी सारी स्टोरीज सुनी थी टुवर्ड्स, एंड आई थिंक दिस वाज क्लोजर टू कोविड, जहाँ पे कोऑपरेटिव बैंक्स के एफडीज होते थे. ऑल ऑफ सम पार्ट ऑफ आवर हाउस है वो कोऑपरेटिव बैंक का एफडी करा देता था क्योंकि रेट थोड़ा सा अच्छा था. फिर वो बैंक बंद हो गई, आप लाइन लेकर बाहर खड़े हो उसके कोऑपरेटिव बैंक के एफडीज में. तो एफडी हमको जो सेफ लगता है ना, नॉट सेफ, बिकॉज हर एक एफडी का सिर्फ 5 लाख का इंश्योरेंस होता है. तो फॉर आपने एबीसी बैंक में एफडी करा दिया, if the bank had to fail for whatever reason, अगर आपने 7 लाख कराया है, 7 में से आपका 5 इंश्योर्ड है, 2 लाख is not insured.
So if that goes, then that goes forever.
Yes. So up to 5, your money is safe. It's insured. उसके ऊपर जो भी है आपको नहीं मिलने वाला है. If in
That's with
case,
any bank.
yeah,
Any
that's the
bank.
rule. Yeah,
That's the rule. Any bank, any bank.
it's
तो अगर आपने
RBI का रूल है ये.
किसी बैंक में 5 लाख के ऊपर करवाया, so that balance part is uninsured. You don't have insurance. Obviously, that's why people go for those AAA banks की बैंक
Right.
अगर डूब गया तो then things
Right.
go for a toss. But unfortunately कुछ लोग cooperative banks या smaller banks में करवा देते हैं, जो फिर वो पैसे लॉक इन हो जाते हैं. Then there is
Safety is not there. Yeah.
safety is not there. So most people don't know FD is an unsecured debt. In fact, debt mutual fund में जो papers होते हैं, that is a secured debt because उसके पीछे आपके collaterals होते हैं, hard collaterals, soft collaterals. पर अगर वो paper fail होना है तो आप court में जाके वो collateral exercise करके बेच के पैसे ले सकते हो. We don't have to do that. Fund
Right.
managers do that. There are
Right.
people for us managing it. But ये जो smaller differentiation है कि अरे मेरा debt mutual fund है, पैसा चला जाएगा, चलो बैंक में है, FD के साथ safe है. नहीं, आपकी FD सिर्फ 5 लाख तक safe है और आपके debt mutual funds 99% secured होते हैं.
Right. So if someone with a capital of 10 or 20 lakh rupees looking to invest, what should they consider? Like, should they consider FD or should they consider what you were saying? The
So
debt?
that's Aman's financial plan. We will take it on and
No,
send it to
probably I'm
you.
just yeah.
No, so definitely.
Everything I'm talking, I'm just trying to learn and figure out.
No, it's a pitch as well.
No, but
Yeah.
definitely you should and can look at an FD, but probably just to keep your emergency corpus, right? So some 1, 2, 3 lakhs, whatever you think is your emergency corpus, for a little longer, you can park that money in an FD. Other than that, I would not really. I don't think.
It's
You
the
should.
best way
No,
to-
it is not really. No, it's
Yeah,
not even
exactly.
giving you the flexibility. If
Right.
tomorrow आप जाके इसको premature बंद करा रहे हो, आपके penalty लग
Yeah,
जाएगा.
they
लग
deduct
जाएगा.
You
charges.
actually don't end up making anything. So
Right.
why do you really want to invest? I mean, I can go on and on about why no FDs, but to answer your question, little bit of it can be at this rate of interest where we feel that ठीक है बहुत अच्छा है जो भी मिल रहा है, but आगे for long term no.
मतलब like she said, वही senior citizens का you can still lock in if you're getting
Consider,
getting a good rate at a good bank, most important.
Right.
And emergency corpus, like वो हमने क्रिटिक केयर को अगर रात को पैसा देना है तो उससे वो ऑनलाइन एफडी ही टूट सकती है, डेट
हाँ.
म्यूचुअल फंड का फिर भी देयर इज अ टैट, राइट?
Yes.
तो वो जो इमरजेंसी पैसा हमको कभी कभी चाहिए रहता है, आई थिंक that's what we need.
Tell me this: that how should a person invest in gold? Now, one is physically going and
Buying it.
it from the jeweler, and secondary, I see that I recently saw an application where you can buy gold like a it was like a systematic investment only, but
Yes.
it's just that like a part of gold will be mine,
Hmm.
and every month I can put in whatever XYZ amount I can afford, and then eventually it will become like one thing I'll be able to buy.
Correct.
So what is the right way of buying it?
In fact, a lot of these companies do that, give you that scheme.
Yeah.
If Tanishq and
Tanishq I have also come
Tanishq
across.
does that, and I think Kalyan Jewellers does that, saying that आप वो छोटा पैसा डाल दो, आपका गोल्ड का रेट लॉक होते जाएगा, and we keep accumulating that for you, and at the end of it, you know, either you could buy something or not.
Right.
तो वो तो आप सिप भी कर सकते हो. आप ultimately the whole logic is to freeze the price, right? You can freeze it anyway. You can just freeze it via mutual fund. You can just freeze it via ETF. चलिए मान लिए कि आपका सोवेरेन गोल्ड बॉन्ड्स में लिक्विडिटी नहीं है, बट इफ द होल लॉजिक इज फ्रीजिंग द प्राइस ऑफ गोल्ड, you could do it anyways. So I think the real confusion for people arises कि मैं वो physical gold लेकर वो सोने का सिक्का ले लूँ, कि मैं बीवी को ज्वेलरी दिला दूँ, कि मैं पेपर में डाल दूँ, right?
Right.
For all mental happiness, please buy some jewelry for your wife. But for your financial wellness, you should not do that.
So the best thing to buy in gold are biscuits.
No, it's then your paper gold.
Paper gold. Okay.
It's your paper gold. It will
How
still.
can anyone buy paper gold?
आप लॉग इन करिए म्यूचुअल फंड्स के थ्रू, हम आपको दिलवाते हैं, राइट? सो
Okay.
यू कैन बाय पेपर गोल्ड वाया म्यूचुअल फंड्स, वाया ETF. अगर आपके पास ट्रेडिंग अकाउंट है, आप सोवेरेन गोल्ड बॉन्ड्स ले सकते हैं, जो मैंने आपको थोड़ी देर पहले बोला.
So, but what about the price? The price is same or like it differ? It's different.
थोड़ा सा आर्बिट्राज रहता है,
Okay.
दैट यू हैव टू बी लिटिल केयरफुल अबाउट. टिपिकली म्यूचुअल फंड्स और ETFs में इतना बड़ा आर्बिट्राज नहीं रहता है, बट सोवेरेन गोल्ड बॉन्ड्स में बिकॉज वॉल्यूम बहुत कम है, थोड़ा सा आर्बिट्राज रहता है, वहाँ पे थोड़ा सा कम ज़्यादा रहता है. तो यू जस्ट बी लिटिल केयरफुल कि आप कौन से सीरीज़ का कौन सा सोवेरेन गोल्ड बॉन्ड ले लें, राइट? और पेपर गोल्ड में वो आर्बिट्राज रहता है, पर ध्यान रखिए वो आपको 2.5% दे रहा है. कीप दैट रूल इन माइंड. वहाँ 2.5% ब्याज मिल रहा है हर साल का टिल मैच्योरिटी. अब सिक्के में क्या लगता है?
And maturity period is pre-decided or we decided?
Pre-decided.
That is?
It varies. So normally 8 साल का from the time of issuance रहता है. उसमें
Okay.
pre-mature redemption रहता है 5 साल के अंदर. Maturity का पूरा proceeds गवर्नमेंट ऑफ इंडिया आपको दे रही है. So there is no stickiness, no
Okay.
this thing कि वो 4-5 दिन ऊपर चला जाएगा. और उसका प्राइसिंग मैकेनिज्म भी डिसाइड रहता है कि मैच्योरिटी पे इस बेसिस पे गोल्ड का प्राइस डिसाइड होगा. तो वहाँ पे कोई एम्बिग्विटी नहीं रहती है. टिपिकली बिस्किट में वाइल स्टोरेज रिस्क वगैरह ये सब तो हमको पता है कि वो लॉकर में रखना है, घर पे रखना है, घर से चोरी हो गया, ये वो ये चीज़ें पता रहती है. सिंपल चीज़ें, मेकिंग चार्जेस भी लग जाती है. आपको प्योरिटी चेक करना पड़ता है कि प्योर है कि नहीं. सोने में क्या प्योरिटी है? सोना एक बार बन गया, ऑर्नामेंट बन गया, आजकल तो यू कैन स्टिल गेट लैब टेस्ट डन which certify the quality of this thing कि आपको 14 कैरेट है कि 18 है.
And I think they pre-inform also nowadays before buying it.
They
also they
pre-inform. You can always request for a certificate of authenticity. वो आपको सर्टिफिकेट दे देते हैं. कुछ जूलर्स बायबैक भी ले लेते हैं, saying that अगर आप so and so पीरियड में हमको वापस हमारा सामान ला कर देते हो तो गोल्ड लॉस रहता है.
Okay.
वो गोल्ड लॉस काट के, मेकिंग काट के आपको जनरली पैसे वापस मिल जाते हैं. काफ़ी सारे जूलर्स वैसा कर रहे हैं. बट फिजिकल ज्वेलरी में आपका गोल्ड लॉस लग जाता है, मेकिंग चार्जेस लग जाता है. आई एम अज्यूमिंग एवरीबडी वुड बाय इन वाइट, तो आपका GST लग जाता है 3%.
So
that's plus.
This gold, the paper gold which you are talking about, that can be bought anytime or?
You can just buy it anytime. Do it right away.
Okay.
Do it right away. So you can just buy it anytime. हाँ, sovereign gold bonds आपको मार्केट टाइमिंग में बंद करना पड़ता है, which is market hours. ETF में आप कभी भी इन्वेस्ट कर सकते हो. यू विल गेट द प्राइसिंग एज ऑफ टुमारो व्हेन द मार्केट ओपन्स, बट आप आज बैठ के भी ले सकते हो और आपको कल का भाव मिल जाएगा. So you can just do it anytime. So the difference between this is, on net return basis, and I think we made a video around that as well, saying that physical gold does not make too much sense because बहुत सारे minuses है, GST है, making है, gold loss है, फलाना. So paper is much better.
You're the only girl I've heard saying this. That physical gold में बहुत minuses है. So like that people who get their double salary or wake up one day and think of investing and then go to a jeweler and buy a chain or a ring or a bracelet, that is not actually an investment.
That's consumption. That's gold for consumption, right? Because अगर आपको ज्वेलरी अपनी वाइफ को दिला रहे हो, किसी को दिला रहे हो, आप वो बेचने नहीं वाले हो.
Right.
Unless there is an unfortunate event, you will not
Right.
ever sell your physical gold. So that is never an investment.
So
वो
if
आप पुश्तों को देंगे,
right.
वो next generation pass होगा. That's never an investment.
So if you're looking for a gold investment, it should be paper.
Ideally, yes.
Nice.
Some portion of paper थोड़ा physical ले सकते हो for a D-Day scenario.
Right.
But nobody knows a D-Day scenario. So थोड़ा physical gold ले सकते हो, saying that अगर कुछ D-Day scenario आ गया तो पेपर और फिजिकल में डिफरेंस होगा. मैंने आपको थोड़ी देर पहले एग्जांपल दिया कि शायद यूके के पास इतने रिजर्व्स नहीं है
Right.
जितने का ट्रेडेड कॉन्ट्रैक्ट्स है. सो दैट कुड बी अ डी-डे रिजर्व. उसके लिए आप थोड़ा फिजिकल लेकर रख सकते हो विद सम माइनसेस दैट ऑल ऑफ अस नो. But from a pure play investment perspective, paper makes
And this 8 years lock-in period. So if there is a need for me to get it before that,
you can sell it. It's tradable.
but then do I have to pay some charges for it, or does it deduct anything?
There is taxation.
Okay.
There is no charges. It's just it's like how you sell your shares, right?
And how much time does that procedure take if in case I want to get rid of it, I want to sell it off?
Depends on the volume. आप अगर 1-2 करोड़ का माल निकालने की कोशिश कर रहे हो तो शायद आपको रोज का वॉल्यूम नहीं मिलेगा. एवरी डे कंसिस्टेंटली थोड़ा थोड़ा बेचना पड़ेगा. इफ इट इज फ्यू लैक्स देन जनरली उतना वॉल्यूम मिल जाता है. सो इट डिपेंड्स ऑन द वॉल्यूम, सीरीज का वॉल्यूम, बिकॉज इट्स अ बायर सेलर मार्केट. वहाँ पे इतना वॉल्यूम बिल्टअप नहीं हुआ है. तो टिपिकली अगेन जस्ट टू कम बैक टू योर क्वेश्चन, एसजीबीज में वही पैसा इन्वेस्ट करें जो शायद आप मेच्योरिटी तक होल्ड कर सके. अगर आपको ट्रेडिंग या शॉर्ट टर्म पर्सपेक्टिव से करना है देन गो फॉर ETFs एंड म्यूचुअल फंड्स बिकॉज देयर वॉल्यूम इज मच लार्जर.
And after that completion of 8 years, for example, then how do I do it after that?
Automatically you'll get a money in your account. So तो आपके जो भी बैंक अकाउंट सबमिटेड है, you'll get a email from the government of India saying that this maturity due है. If there is an ambiguity, generally I think
And there's no third party in this. This is directly with the government.
Generally you can just do it via your post office, via your banks as an intermediary. You can just do it online via your this thing. But आपको email आ जाता है अगर कोई ambiguity होता है. If your bank account details are not right, that'll be communicated to you. I think बीच में एक बैंक का अभी just 2 दिन पहले था where there was some ambiguity in them. So there was some money riding in the suspense.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean that's to your bank account. No ambiguity at all.
So there are a lot of investors जो आके बोलते हैं हमें तो करोड़पति बनना है, आप बताओ कितने जल्दी हम बन जाएंगे. So there's this study that we had done. If you're investing 25,000 every month at 15% return, at 15% return, it will take you 12 years to reach your first 1 CR. However, after that, it will take you 4 years, only 4 years to reach the next 1 CR, 2.5 years to reach the next, and 1.5 years to reach the next 1 CR. उसके बाद every year you're going to add 1 CR to your portfolio thanks to the power of compounding. So
Right.
yeah, that is
so how does this compounding work?
ये
What
हमारे
exactly is
ज़माने
compounding? Tell me
पहले
that.
जब पापा के ज़माने में बोलते थे ना ब्याज पे ब्याज मिलना.
हाँ, ब्याज पे ब्याज.
Power of compounding in layman terms is ब्याज पे ब्याज. कुछ नहीं, मतलब आपका कैपिटल भी कम आ रहा है, कैपिटल के ऊपर जो आपने रिटर्न बनाया वो रिटर्न भी आपके लिए थर्ड ईयर में कम आ रहा है, सो एंड सो फोर्थ. सो एक इंटरेस्टिंग डेटा पॉइंट था, अगेन आई शेयर दैट विथ यू. अगर आप 20 साल तक इन्वेस्ट करते जाओ और 20वें साल पे आप ब्रेक करो कि इसमें से मेरा प्रिंसिपल कितना था, मूल कितना था जो मैंने दिया, और उसके ऊपर ब्याज कितना था, राइट? ब्याज इंक्लूडिंग ब्याज पे ब्याज जो आपका मिला, राइट? 4% इज द प्रिंसिपल जो आपने दिया है. बाकी 96% इज ओनली अर्निंग्स, ब्याज ब्याज पे ब्याज. दैट इज द पावर ऑफ कंपाउंडिंग, राइट? पावर ऑफ कंपाउंडिंग हमने कोविड के टाइम सीखा, राइट? एक से दो, 2 से 4,
Right.
4 से इतने, राइट? दैट इज द पावर ऑफ कंपाउंडिंग. इतनी जल्दी आपका पैसा बढ़ता है. तो जब 1 से 2 होता है, 2 से 4 होता है, यू लाइक अरे दैट्स नॉट टू एक्साइटिंग. उसके बाद जो बढ़ता है ना, दैट्स
तो वो जो सिंपल भाषा में बोलते हैं पैसा ही पैसे को खींचता है.
पैसा ही पैसे को खींचता है.
I mean, आप सोचो 12 साल लग जाएंगे to reach your first 1 crore, right? But then it's only taking 4 years. And
For it
then
to go up
2.5.
to, yeah.
And then फिर आप अगले हर साल आप 1 करोड़ ऐड कर रहे हो because भाई पैसे
Right.
से पैसा कमा रहे हैं.
Okay, so nowadays, do you think that young people who and all of these kids who have just started, as soon as they start, they end up buying an iPhone, they end up buying all the expensive things because the loan availability is so
Yes,
accessible
yes.
nowadays.
So easy.
You think that's actually not good for them, because rather they do that investment of rather than buying a 1 lakh rupee phone, it
True.
will be
I
more
mean,
sensible.
most of us or most of these kids or people who have just started off, it's so easy. They just buy luxury on EMI. आप
Right.
iPhone ले लो, आप कुछ भी ले लो आज के दिन पे, and आपको EMI मिल जाता है,
Right.
right? So that is what a lot of them who've just started off are doing, and
Right.
that is not the right way to do. आप जब भी start कर रहे हो, आपको liability क्यों लेनी है, right?
Right.
This is your time to start accumulating and make an asset for yourself.
Right.
Liability नहीं. So there's this interview that I was going through. Is this 30 somebody, early 30s, right? So he said, I started off very well working with an MNC bank.
Okay.
Okay, good salary, everything is very good. And then suddenly he got into the trap of credit cards. That guy had
Yeah.
10 credit cards. He said, I used to just max it out and my minimum due भर देता था. And then next month चलो फिर से max. What you have to understand is these credit cards charge you anywhere between 35 to 40% interest,
Interest rate, right?
which a lot of these youngsters don't know.
Yeah.
So credit card ले लिया, luxury में आपने iPhone भी खरीद लिया, चलो bike भी खरीद लिया, and life is going on very well. But this is just going to end up into a very big, bad,
Yes.
Scene of debt, which then it becomes very bad for them to handle.
So who's the right consumer for a credit card? Definitely not the people who are starting off, or who have just got a job or something. But so nowadays banks are also become like those agents. As soon as a person gets a job, within 3 months they see the
Oh.
salary credited.
हाँ, they did.
The 4th month they give a call, free credit card you're getting.
Oh, God, it's
So,
a pain.
yeah.
It's a pain.
So who's actually a right consumer for a credit card? It is definitely not for every layman.
It's for somebody who understands credit card, and you don't have to understand the nitty gritty to it. अगर आपको नहीं समझ आ रहा है कि वो क्या है क्या नहीं, कुछ मत करो. You have to spend X amount of money. कुछ 15,000 मेरे महीने का खर्चा है, जो भी घर का खर्चा है
जी.
वो है. You spend that 15,000 in your credit card. What's the issue? फिर बिल आ रहा है आप भर दो. You have to keep a discipline as far as credit card is concerned.
Yeah.
Just because your credit limit is 1 lakh does not mean आप अपना 15,000 का खर्चा अचानक से 40,000 कर दो, because limit तो है ना यार. नहीं, you don't have to do that.
Right.
Till the time you understand the nuances that this is my limit, this is what I can spend, just do that. If you are following that, then somebody as new as who just started working, to us who probably have been working for long and have that corpus, are the best users of credit card. And it also comes with a lot of benefits, right? Your points and this free lounge
Yeah.
access हो गया, कुछ जो इतने सारे fancy चीजें जो आ रही है, why not use it?
Yeah.
But in a very sophisticated manner.
So it's not a bad word, but use it a little more diligently, because credit score का importance थोड़ा late in life पता चलता है जब आप शायद अपना पहला घर ले रहे हो.
Right.
As youngsters, you want to spend it out, max it out, enjoy your life. It starts affecting your credit scores. Also, just to add on, people, even if you're diligent in paying and you have 10 credit cards, Slice, One Card, blah blah blah, Zomato जो offers रहते हैं,
Yeah.
अगर आपने 10-15 क्रेडिट कार्ड भी ले लिया हर एक चीज़ के, दैट ऑल्सो अफेक्ट्स योर क्रेडिट स्कोर्स नेगेटिवली, even if you pay much before the due date,
Yeah.
diligently and all. So we had a real case example for my brother itself. So he had probable all possible credit cards, and because हर एक का discount अलग होता है, आपको Bank
Yeah,
of
I know,
Baroda
they give
कुछ
you
discount
different
and they
deals,
give you
yeah,
this thing. He went for his first car loan and his credit score was low. That time we were told
Even
that
after paying it on time.
diligently much before the due date.
Wow.
So आप जितने ज़्यादा credit cards भी ले रहे हो,
That is
that
also not
affects
good.
your credit score negatively. So credit card is good because it gives you a financial discipline. Like she said, you have points, and also credit history बनाना is very good because उसके साथ आपकी credit history बन रही है, right?
Right.
So it always helps you when you want a larger loan. Maxing it out and काफी सारे credit cards could help your credit score negatively when you really need a home loan or whatever.
Right.
So वो बात काफी लोग miss out कर देते हैं.
So having maximum 1 or 2 credit card is more than enough.
I think that's good
Should
enough.
be.
Yes.
मैंने बहुत लोगों को देखा है, लोग ये सोच के क्रेडिट कार्ड लेते हैं दैट अभी मेरे को 50,000, 75,000 और 1 लाख व्हाटएवर XYZ अमाउंट की लिमिट मिल जाएगी, मैं इसको लेके कबर्ड में रख दूंगा, मेरे को जब इमरजेंसी में काम आएगा तब आई विल यूज इट. but it never happens that way.
Never happens.
As soon as it comes, it's
Yeah.
swiped left, right, and center. So then they end up paying all that 34-35% interest rate.
Exactly, because वो पैसा आज नहीं भर रहा है ना, तो ऐसा लगेगा ठीक है भी
Exactly.
मैनेज हो जाएगा. But that's
It's more like a trap for.
it's a debt trap.
It's a-
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a trap.
Is buying real estate good or renting it out?
That's
Yeah.
like
Catch
a
22,
ever
yeah.
going debate.
See, as an emotion, I know definitely.
Yeah.
Of course.
There's no emotion that can be covered, or
Yeah.
that can be an alternate to having your own, house to live. But in terms of finance, but there are some good investments also which happens in real estate.
True.
So what do you suggest in that? Someone with a capital of 1 or 1.5 CR should buy a house, or what should they go ahead with?
So on the real estate side, थोड़ा हिस्ट्री बात करते हैं.
जी.
आज से 10 आई थिंक 2012-13 में बहुत लोगों ने रियल एस्टेट खरीदा, राइट? बिकॉज उसके 2000 आई मीन आफ्टर ग्लोबल फाइनेंशियल क्राइसिस, जब वो इंडिया का डेकेड था,
Right.
बहुत भाव बढ़े. तो
Yeah.
सबको लगा कि यही एक इन्वेस्टमेंट है. एक तो हार्ड एसेट से तो हमको वैसे भी रियल एस्टेट से काफ़ी प्यार होता है एज इंडियंस. सब ने जम के रियल एस्टेट खरीदा. आप किसी से भी पूछ लीजिए जिन्होंने 2013-14 के आसपास घर खरीदा है. इनफैक्ट बिल्डर्स, डेवलपर्स जो वो टाइम पर अपना बिल्डिंग्स बना रहे थे, काफ़ी सारे तो आज एनसीएलटी पे है. आप अपने घर का या किसी से पूछ लीजिए कि रियल कैपिटल अप्रिसिएशन कितना हुआ है. कुछ नहीं आया. बट हमने क्यों खरीदा? बिकॉज हम एज इंडियंस फोमो पे रहते हैं कि यार नहीं, ये सेक्टर तो इतना चल गया है और इतना पैसा बना है लोगों का, तो भी हम खरीद लेते हैं, राइट? तो कोई भी इन्वेस्टमेंट क्लास, बी इट रियल एस्टेट, गोल्ड एंड ऑल, एक तो फोमो ट्रेड मत करिए, बिल्कुल भी नहीं करिए. रियल एस्टेट का भी एक साइकिल आता है, गोल्ड का भी एक साइकिल आता है, इक्विटी का भी एक साइकिल आता है. तो इट इज़ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट टू अंडरस्टैंड कि आर यू प्लेइंग दैट साइकिल राइट.
Okay.
Most important, right? Second, does investing in real estate make sense today, right? Probably yes, right? Some portions there is still some opportunity, but opportunity आपको वो luxury high end वाले segment में मिल रहा है. काफ़ी सारा, in fact in Bombay you said काफ़ी सारे तो rebuilt हो रहे. That
Yeah,
does not
lot
make
of
sense.
redevelopment. Yeah.
Lot of redevelopment happening. To my mind that does not really make sense. तो जहाँ पे consumption angle आता है, real estate is a consumption.
Hmm.
Obviously everybody needs and should have one house on
Of
their
their
own. On the investment perspective, I still have my second doubts around that कि कौन सा segment, मेरे हिसाब से luxury segment में सबसे ज़्यादा appreciation है, दिखाई दे रहा है. On the mid segment जो आप और हम शायद में करते हैं, वहाँ पे things are not that.
So real estate as an investment is not
It is
something
not
very
something
sure
you can
of,
maybe
but
just,
to live in it, it's a
it's
good.
still it's more of
definitely
a
good.
consumption thing.
Yeah.
But from an investment perspective, I think there aren't too many pockets of opportunities. हाँ, अगर मैंने 5 साल पहले सूरत में घर ले लिया होता तो it would have been the best
Right.
investment, right? How do I play that cycle right? So picking up that and timing that cycle in a niche asset of this sort is challenge.
So what are some biggest misconceptions and problems you see people doing it quite often when they probably approach you or you come across when you see the market?
ये Las Vegas नहीं है.
क्या नहीं है?
Las Vegas नहीं है. So markets are not Las Vegas. I
Yeah.
think lot of people मेरा पैसा कितनी जल्दी बन जाएगा या तो पैसा डूब जाएगा, पापा मार डालेंगे. I think that's
Oh, we have a lot of such clients.
तो वो शायद थोड़ा सा तो
So you think Indians have a habit of मेरे को बहुत जल्दी चाहिए?
we fear investors.
हाँ हाँ.
हम बहुत डरते
हाँ.
हैं.
So this people talk about investing 500 rupees or 1,000 rupees in SIP. It should is it really happening? Like people do it of that
People,
amount,
yeah.
and they should.
100%. Not all of them have the capability to invest at 25,000, right?
Right.
Even if it is as small as that, just do it. Just save. It gets you into that habit and that discipline of investing.
Right.
Probably gives you a flavor of what is happening to your money, and then you can just gradually keep on increasing it.
Right.
Right.
And also there is a saying that you should invest in stock market. You should invest in the companies which you are a consumer of. So is that a good saying? And also, what are the fundamentals people should look into before investing into any company?
I mean, look at the fundamentals. If you are a consumer, it does not really matter.
Okay.
I mean, That is something that I'm
Yeah.
actually hearing for the first time. But
Exactly. Yeah.
fundamentals, अगर आपको आता है कैश फ्लो पढ़ना, if you know how to read the balance sheet and the P&L and their management commentary,
What is the best way to read it? Like if I'm a layman and I want to understand. So what are the basic thing I can start with to understand a company's profile?
आप सबसे पहले ना मैनेजमेंट क्या है वो पकड़िए. तो इफ यू हैव टू एलोकेट 100% ऑफ योर एनर्जी, 60% हैज टू बी जस्ट अंडरस्टैंडिंग द मैनेजमेंट, बिकॉज अगर मैनेजमेंट ही चोर है तो आप कभी पैसा नहीं बनाओगे.
Right.
राइट. जस्ट लुक एट लास्ट 5 years का बैलेंस शीट. एक बैलेंस शीट में सेक्शन होता है मैनेजमेंट डिस्कशन एंड एनालिसिस का. आप वो पढ़ते जाइए कि ये साल में इसने ये बोला था, अच्छा नेक्स्ट ईयर में किया क्या है, नेक्स्ट ईयर में इसने इसमें बहाना मार दिया है, नेक्स्ट ईयर में करा है क्या, इसके बाद हुआ है क्या. राइट. सो वो एक पैटर्न आपको समझ में आ जाएगा कि कंपनी का ग्रोथ पैटर्न क्या है. कुछ लोग रिलेटेड पार्टी ट्रांजैक्शन दे रहे हैं कि मैं अपने सिस्टर कंसर्न में मैंने ऐसे बहुत सारे सब्सिडरीज तो नहीं बना दिए जहाँ पे रिलेटेड पार्टी ट्रांजैक्शन होते हैं. तो अंडरस्टैंडिंग द सेक्टर कि यार ये सेक्टर में गवर्नमेंट पॉलिसीज है कि नहीं है. जस्ट बिकॉज डिफेंस चल रहा है तो मैं अंधाधुंध डिफेंस में पैसा डाल दूँ, आई डोंट थिंक दैट शुड रियली हैपन ओवर हियर. राइट. सो नंबर्स वगैरह, ये वैल्यूएशन, हम एज इन्वेस्टर्स वैल्यूएशन पे थीम पे स्टक आउट हो जाते हैं. राइट. वैल्यूएशन इज जस्ट 20% ऑफ द गेम. मेजर गेम तो आपका समझना है कि इंडस्ट्रीज में कितनी पॉलिसीज आ रही है, इंडस्ट्री का सपोर्ट कितना है, इसका कॉम्पिटिटिव एडवांटेज कितना है वर्सेस अदर्स इन द मार्केट, ग्रोथ ट्रैजेक्टरी क्या है, क्या ये नया फैक्ट्री डालने वाला है, विल ही गेट सब्सिडीज फ्रॉम द गवर्नमेंट. राइट. स्मॉलर पॉइंट्स दैट यू नीड टू हाईलाइट. टू योर पॉइंट ऑन इन्वेस्टिंग इन द प्रोडक्ट दैट यू कंज्यूम, ये लोगों ने नेस्ले में इन्वेस्ट किया था कि यार वो सेरेलैक है, सेरेलैक तो मार्केट मेकर है, तो चलो नेस्ले खरीद लो. ठीक है, बिकॉज मार्केट मेकर है, ओलिगोपोली है. अब आपने नेस्ले तो खरीद लिया, नेक्स्ट 20 साल में हमारा पैटर्न कैसे चेंज होने वाला है, कितने बच्चे पैदा होने वाले, कितने अडल्ट कर रहे हैं. जो हमारे शायद पेरेंट्स के जनरेशन में 4-5 बच्चे होते थे पर पेरेंट, हमारे जनरेशन में मतलब आप पेरेंट्स बी 3, शायद मेरे जनरेशन में तो 1 होगा, 2 0, which means over the next decade or 2 you will have more aging crowd, right, wanting pensions versus kids. तो आप मुझे बताइए, आप डायपर की कंपनी में, अडल्ट डायपर की कंपनी में इन्वेस्ट करोगे कि आप नेस्ले या सेरेलैक में इन्वेस्ट करोगे. राइट. सो लोग मार्केट कंजम्पशन देखकर कि नहीं ये तो मार्केट लीडर है, मैं तो मैगी भी खाती हूँ, मैं तो सेरेलैक भी पीती हूँ, वो ठीक है, पर आगे क्या होने वाला है इज द मोस्ट इम्पॉर्टेंट क्वेश्चन. आज साइबर सिक्योरिटी इज द बिगेस्ट थिंग. हमको पता भी नहीं है कि हमारे फोन कब कैसे हैक हो जाएंगे. राइट. नाउ टेल मी, विल यू पुट मनी इन एन इंश्योरेंस कंपनी? शायद कोविड के बाद बहुत लोगों ने इंश्योरेंस कंपनी में पैसे डाले बिकॉज वॉल्यूम इंक्रीज हो गया. साइबर सिक्योरिटी के लिए कौन इंश्योरेंस लेता है? जनरली आप नहीं सुनते हो. बट अगर AI इज द नेक्स्ट थिंग, तो मैं किस में पैसा डालूँ? AI में पैसा डालूँ कि उस कंपनी में पैसा डालूँ जो साइबर सिक्योरिटी इंश्योरेंस दे रही है? सो सच फाइनल स्टफ.
But having said that, a lot of them, people like you probably who are not from finance, right? You will not know कहाँ invest करना है. आप चलो management commentary भी पढ़ रहे हो, everything you are doing, right? You will still not know whether an ITC is good and an HUL is good, right, or an ICICI bank is good, right? You will not know. And even if you invest, you don't know when to exit. You probably don't have the bandwidth because of your own work, right? It makes no sense. Till the time you cannot do that religiously and diligently, do not invest in stocks. Do not invest in stock just because I told you this is doing well, tomorrow it's going to perform. Tip based investing जो होती है ना, टिप मिला है, पापा के फ्रेंड ने टिप दिया, वो मत करो. बिकॉज उसमें मैंने बहुत देखा है लोग डूब जाते हैं. पापा, the father, he had got HDFC का IPO back in 90s right?
में बहुत IPO होते थे,
कुछ
right?
5,000 या 10,000
5,000 शेयर लिए थे,
amount, हाँ. And he forgot about it. And then finally a few years back he realized and cashed on a lot of money which he's still holding. But वो तो एक पोर्शन था उनके पोर्टफोलियो का. 80% of his portfolio is still lying in that suitcase as your physical shares because वो कंपनी नहीं है आज के दिन पे.
तो IPO मीनिया में काफी लोग ले लेते हैं.
Those companies don't exist
anymore. No, they don't. मतलब कभी हो ही नहीं, खत्म हो गई कंपनी, खत्म हो गई है. तो वो अभी भी पेपर पढ़े हुए, अभी भी मम्मी बोलती है थोड़ा देख लो, बट वो नहीं है. So while he made money over here, good amount of money, but he actually lost all his whatever 5,000, 10,000 he
Right.
must have invested back in 90s in these 80% of the company. Stock market is very good. Investing in direct equity is very good only if you have the time and the knowledge to do that.
Right.
Otherwise, stick to your basics. Mutual fund karo. You are employing a fund manager to invest for you, right? In your PMS as well. Chalo, bahut mutual fund ho gaya. In a portfolio management service, which is nicher than a mutual fund, right? You are, employing a fund manager to manage your money. How great is that? You don't have to
Right.
even use your brains.
Right.
Right? And you don't even have to go as far as seeing कि ये 40 कंपनी जो इन्होंने ली है म्यूचुअल फंड ने कैसे परफॉर्म करे, आपको नहीं करना है.
Right.
Management, you can just go through the performance history and see what's happening. You have your returns. Well, that's not a very best way, but you still have your returns in your equity mutual fund. You can just gauge what is happening and then take your decision, or you have advisors like us to help you out.
So now whatever happened with your dad, like those companies, they just went off. So what happens about those shares? Like there's nothing that can be done?
No, I mean my mom is still sitting in a hope that वो list हो जाएगी एक दिन. फिर हम इसको
So
dematerialize
we
करा
tried
देंगे.
calling up these guys. Those
But in
are
practical world, if something like that happens,
It's just
the
you
money
can
is
just
gone.
It's
open
gone.
print. The money is gone.
Yeah.
Ah.
कंपनीज कभी कभी अनलिस्ट हो जाती है. अब अनलिस्ट हो गई तो शायद कंपनी बहुत अच्छा करी. अनलिस्ट मार्केट में फिर आप बेचो, डिस्काउंट में बिकेगा. वी हैड दिस ब्रूरी शेयर विच आई एम फॉरगेटिंग अबाउट. तो वो ब्रोकर्स कॉल करते रहेंगे कि दे दो, ले लो. तो अनलिस्टेड मार्केट में यू डोंट नो द शेयर एंड व्हाई यू वांट टू गेट इनटू दैट हैसल ऑफ डिफरेंट स्टफ. तो वो आईपीओ मार्केट में नहीं होता है कार्ड. आप आईपीओ मार्केट में सब में पैसा डाल देते हो विदाउट रियली थिंकिंग. पहले तो चाहे आईपीओ में लग भी जाता था.
Yeah.
अब
Nowadays
that's
तो
a different
doesn't
scene.
happen.
It's a lot.
But
Nowadays it's a lot of luck.
There is a lot of luck. But forget IPO market also. आप सेक्टर में आप अगर ट्रैक करेंगे, HDFC डिफेंस में म्यूचुअल फंड का स्कीम आया था विद होल हल्ला कि डिफेंस इज द नेक्स्ट थिंग. ये वो आप परफॉर्मेंस देख लीजिए. इट इज जस्ट लॉस्ट आउट ऑफ मनी. एक कंपनी हमारे पास आई डिफेंस सेक्टर की, ड्रोन बनाती है. आई टेल यू द वैल्यूएशन 11 करोड़ का रेवेन्यू, 1000 करोड़ वैल्यूएशन मांग रहा था वो लड़का. एंड उसको मिला. That's more surprising.
Yeah.
He got
got
all
it.
he got
Yeah.
the money.
That's
got
I
the
don't
money.
even know how many X, 11 crore to 1000 crore.
भूल जाइए. X तो भूल
Yeah.
जाइए. And ड्रोन बना रहा है, right? ड्रोन are
Yeah.
so cheap that आपको
Yeah,
हर
yeah,
एक
yeah.
वॉर ने हमको दिखा दिया कि ड्रोन is so cheap सब मैन्युफैक्चर
Right,
कर
right.
सकते हैं. उसको मिला वो वैल्यूएशन. So mania is something that you should really avoid. Is what we have our
Wow.
this thing.
So what about this taxation in our country? What do you think that are we getting enough? Do we as Indians get enough for the tax we pay, the services that government should give us? Or probably they are also lacking in doing it because the population is so high and there are higher number of people who don't pay tax and probably or don't even have that sort of income.
तो ये थोड़ा political question हो गया.
How do we make it politically sound, right? I want to just give you a number. 130 करोड़ की जनता में 1.4 करोड़ तो टैक्स भरती है. तो कंप्लेन करने वाले से वही है जो कंप्लेन कर सकते हैं. बाकी लोग तो यार टैक्स ब्रैकेट में. और 1.3 करोड़ में वो ऐसे भी लोग हैं जिनको डिडक्शंस मिल रहे हैं. तो प्रैक्टिकली यू आर नॉट पेइंग, यू जस्ट फाइलिंग योर टैक्सेस. कंप्लेन क्राउड तो बहुत ही छोटा है on that. And I think the way they have done it, it's pretty neat. I mean honestly not complaining over here because वो लोग ने बहुत systematically अभी अलाइन कर दिया है. पहले चैनलाइज कर दिया. पहले डेट इक्विटी कुछ होता था, इक्विटी में कुछ होता था, लिस्टेड अनलिस्टेड, यू डोंट नो व्हाट योर रियल एस्टेट इज गेटिंग टैक्स्ड एट, गोल्ड का टैक्स कुछ अलग होता था. तो वो चैनलाइज करके आई थिंक एक इक्वल स्ट्रीम पर लाना was most important and which they have.
But a lot of people say कि जो भर रहे हैं उनको बहुत ज़्यादा भरवा रहे हैं. वो सही है कि?
I think there is always a consistent complaint on GST, but you'll have to understand कि गवर्नमेंट को भी तो फिस्कल मैनेज करना पड़ रहा है, राइट? आज आपको सब्सिडीज मैनेज कर रहा है, आज आपको अपना तेल का भाव मैनेज कर रहा है बिकॉज वी आर इम्पोर्टर्स, राइट? आज हम बहुत अच्छे पोजीशन पे, बट जब नेगेटिव चला जाता है देन वी हैव टू मैनेज आवर फिस्कल्स एज वेल. अगर आप फिस्कल नहीं मैनेज करोगे तो वो FII का गोरे का पैसा कैसे आएगा आपकी कंट्री में? गोरे का पैसा इज ऑल ऑफ अस दैट वी नीड. तो फिस्कल मैनेज करने के लिए आई थिंक taxation is one important part which the government will. इसका सिर्फ एक ही घुमा के आंसर है, प्लीज पे योर टैक्सेस. so that
No,
rest of
but
us can enjoy.
yeah, I mean, how much ever we crave, I mean, हमारे बोलने से कुछ होने नहीं वाला है. What is going to happen is going to happen. What you can really do is, plan your taxes well. So, for example, if you're an artist or a lawyer, etc., right? If you're a professional, so you can file your taxes under this section 44 ADA. So,
Okay.
in which, if your income is still 75 lakhs,
Hmm.
you can straight away show half of it as expenses without having to furnish any bills, right? So your taxable income actually decreases by that much money. On top of that, you have your basic exemptions and your section 80C, 80D, jo bhi aap kar lo.
Right.
And then your payable actually comes down significantly. So while we cannot really do anything as far as the government is concerned, what we
Right.
can do is plan our taxes
We-
well. But ये actually काफी लोगों को पता नहीं है. I mean,
Yeah.
to be very honest, मतलब people don't really know that, and it's not your fault. It's your tax advisor's fault who probably also does not know that यार ये आप use कर सकते हो.
Okay.
Right? Section 44 ADA बहुत कम
बहुत
लोगों
कम
को
लोगों
पता
को
है
पता होता है.
कि आप प्रोफेशनल हो, आप आधा स्लैश कर लो अपना. You're 75, if you're earning a 75 lakhs per year, just slash it into half and उस पे आप अपना टैक्स भर रहे हो, right?
Right.
There's what 37 and a half and उस पे भी
That's
आप
a
इतने
lot of-
exemptions
yeah.
ले रहे हो,
saving, yeah.
इतने exemptions हो रहे हैं, ये वो, तो it brings down your tax paying to a very significant amount.
I think काफी लोग वो भी कंफ्यूज हो जाते हैं कि हम ओल्ड स्कीम में जाए, न्यू स्कीम में जाए. There is a number around that. You want to talk about that? There आपका exemptions if it's around 4.83, if your exemptions under all sections are more than 4.83 lakhs, then you should do the old scheme. Otherwise, you should just shift down to the new
New
scheme.
scheme आपके.
काफ़ी लोग वो कंफ्यूज हो जाते हैं, अरे न्यू स्कीम में इतने बेनिफिट्स है पर ओल्ड वाले में तो मुझे 80C का एग्जाम्पशन मिलता था, ब्ला 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 एग्जाम्पशंस मिलता था, तो मैं कहाँ शिफ्ट हूँ. जस्ट वन बॉल पार्क नंबर, अगर आपका टोटल एग्जाम्पशन 4.83 लाख से ज़्यादा है सालाना, स्टे इन द ओल्ड स्कीम, अदरवाइज प्लीज कम बैक, just do the new scheme.
I want to ask you that people tend to take personal loans very quickly. Like they don't nowadays. This NBFC apps and all
Yes,
also are there.
yes.
They take loan left, right, center, and the interest rates are as good
Yes.
as credit cards.
Yeah.
So what do you think about that? That people should avoid it, and what is a better way of opting for a loan if someone is in need of it?
हमारे पास एक वो जोमेटो वगैरह में ऐप्स चलते थे, लेजी पे
Lazy pay, yeah.
एंड सो मेनी ऑफ अर्ली सैलरी
Yeah.
था, वन कार्ड है, स्लाइस है.
Yeah.
दीज आर नॉट क्रेडिट्स, दीज आर नॉट क्रेडिट कार्ड्स. ये आप लोन ले रहे हो. काफ़ी लोगों को ये लगता है कि अरे ये तो क्रेडिट दे रहा है, आपको ब्ला 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 पीरियड में वापस करना है. प्लीज़ अंडरस्टैंड दिस इज़ वेरी सिमिलर टू अ लोन दैट यू माइट टेक फ्रॉम अ बैंक. अब
Oh.
यहाँ पे अगर आपने डीले कर दिया तो जो आपका क्रेडिट स्कोर एक बैंक लोन डीले करने में होता है वैसा होता है. तो दिस इज डेबिट, दिस इज नॉट अ क्रेडिट कार्ड.
Oh, but they,
Right,
they
this-
sell it in a way
They
that
sell it in a way that
yeah.
how will they issue credit, right? There is no
Wow, I was so not aware
deposit
of it,
growth
yeah.
that these guys have. These are debits. ये लोन टेकन बाय अमन, लोन टेकन बाय चंचल होता है, तो ये तो बहुत ही ज़्यादा फाइनर निटिग्रिटीज में आप में हम में से किसी माइट एज वेल जस्ट यूज अ डैम क्रेडिट कार्ड फ्रॉम अ रेप्यूटेड बैंक. दैट विल बी मच बेटर रादर देन taking a loan just
Definitely
to
for
order that
eating
pizza.
food,
Yeah, which you don't know.
Yeah.
You don't even know you're taking a loan.
Loan to eat a pizza. Definitely.
Yeah, exactly. You don't need a
Oh my
loan to
God.
eat a pizza, right?
Wow.
तो ये
So that's going to impact the CIBIL in the same way probably of a
100%,
bank loan.
100%. आप चार्जेस देखिए इनके, एक दिन लेजी पे आप लेट भरिए, right? There is I think 100 rupees charge.
Yeah, Ola also does the same thing.
Ola
right?
also does the same thing.
Ola
yeah.
money
Yeah,
जो
Ola
है,
money, something
Yeah,
like that.
That's
right?
also a loan.
If
They
That
don't,
is also a loan.
you डिपॉजिट ग्रोथ नहीं है ना, बैंक आपको क्रेडिट दे सकती है, क्रेडिट देंगे कहाँ से?
But then don't you think they should inform people that
टर्म्स एंड
this-
कंडीशंस जिस पे हम आई अग्री लिख कर देते
Yeah,
हैं
we don't
वो
read
10
that.
पेज का, तो बताते तो हैं पर फाइनर वर्ड्स इंटरप्रेट इट. None of us are lawyers to do that.
right?
हमको तो we just go by that 10-20% का डिस्काउंट मिल रहा है, ये कार्ड वो कार्ड हम कर लेते हैं.
So Ola money, Lazy
Yes.
Pay, and this one
These
card,
are
and all of
debts.
these are
TNC
debts.
कोई पढ़ता नहीं. In fact, SEBI has come out with a very amazing rule where if you're investing in a PMS, they necessarily have to make a 1 or a 2 pager with the most important terms and conditions. They call it MITC. So instead of those 500 pages where you're not going to really sit and read, you have to get it down to 10-12 points where your investors can read, and this is around your the fees and your tenure, etc., etc. Right? So at least that is a very welcome and positive change that has come in the financial markets, which I have yet to be. We are yet to see
Yet
it
to
in
see
your
the
credit
same.
cards and your loans.
Yeah.
Wow.
Personal loans are little sticky because आप largely unsecured loans लेते हैं. हम किसी को देख रहे थे, वो marriage के लिए loans होता है, vacation के लिए loans होता है. लोग एक आर्टिकल था कि वो कोटा में बच्चे लोन ले लेते हैं and then they just get away, throw their SIM cards and run away to their parents' house and stuff like that.
We have seen a lot of such cases. We've read of such cases as
where
well.
people just run away. फिर वो लोन वाले आ रहे रिकवरी में आपके पेरेंट्स के घर पे basis the proof that you have. So a lot of kids do that, which is not too healthy for the generation. I'm more worried on the companies who do that, because ये companies ने तो लोन दे दे के super phenomenal growth. We call it fintech in our world. So I'm a little worried on that part. चाहे 10,000 का लोन हो, personal loans is a little risky and all.
Especially these applications.
100%.
And now I read an article few months back that the most of it are the Chinese apps and all that, like Chinese funded applications. So the finance is being run from there.
आप प्राइवेट इक्विटी कोई भी प्राइवेट इक्विटी कंपनीज में ब्रेक करके देखिए कि पैसा कहाँ से आ रहा है, राइट? वो कहीं ना कहीं घूमकर तो गोरे का पैसा ही आ रहा है, चाहे आप वो फंड के थ्रू आ रहा है, आप बोल दो कि वो एक्सेल वाले डाल रहे हैं पैसा, ये अरे अल्टीमेटली तो पैसा बाहर वालों का ही है, राइट? अल्टीमेटली दैट मनी इज गोइंग इनटू द सिस्टम. नाउ इफ देयर इज जस्ट सो मच मनी कमिंग इन द प्राइवेट इक्विटी स्पेस, उनको पैसा देना ही पड़ेगा, दे विल हैव टू इन्वेस्ट. तो अगर वो फिनटेक को बैठे बैठे इतने पैसे मिल रहे हैं, ऑब्वियसली दे विल गिव लॉट ऑफ मैसिव लोन्स. सो नॉट ऑल प्राइवेट लोन्स आर बैड. अब उनमें से भी ब्रेक होता है कि कहीं कहीं वर्किंग कैपिटल लोन्स दिया जाता है, दैट इज गुड लोन. कहीं फार्मर लोन्स होता है विच इज समवेयर इन द मिडिल. पर्सनल नॉन बैक्ड नॉन सिक्योर्ड लोन्स, you would still, I mean, there is growth, there is phenomenal growth on that thing, but you would still be worrying about that. ये वो वही है P2P को रिप्लेस कर रहा है. पहले अगर हमको पैसे चाहिए रहते थे तो हम मामा काका वगैरह से मांग लेते थे, अब वो हम नहीं मांगते हैं तो हम वो ऐप से मांग ले रहे हैं. तो this is just that.
Right. What do you feel about India as a country in coming 4-5 years down the line, in terms of market, in terms of the potential? What do you think?
That's her favorite answer. She'll give you a 5 minutes monologue.
Yeah, please.
So I think India has phenomenal growth ahead, but very expensive. If you're asking, so 2 parts to it: economy and markets, right? So we'll talk about the economy first. अब सोने की चिड़िया कैसे बनेंगे हम वापस? क्वेश्चन आता है कि 91 में बना था, 2003 में बना था सोने की चिड़िया. तब क्या हुआ था? कुछ नहीं हुआ था, गोरे का पैसा आया था, राइट? सो 20 अगर आप जाओ 2003 में क्या हुआ था, वो यूएस ने रेट काटा था, पीपल वांटेड टू इन्वेस्ट समवेयर, इंडिया वाज अ चीप मार्केट, हमको बहुत पैसा मिला और सब हमने डाला, राइट? तो हमने कुछ नहीं किया है, हमको पैसा मिला है तो इंडस्ट्रियल ग्रोथ आई है. बट हमने लास्ट फ्यू ईयर्स में हमारा पैसा कैसे चैनलाइज किया? व्हाट डिड वी डू? वी बिकेम चीप लेबर बाय बीइंग अ सर्विस एक्सपोर्ट कंट्री, राइट? आपके जितने भी ये आईटीसी बूम, आईटी बूम्स वगैरह आए, हम कर क्या रहे हैं? हम तो बीपीओ बैठे हैं, राइट? बीपीओ रिप्लेस कर देगा, आईआई रिप्लेस कर देगा बीपीओ को. देन व्हाट? देन यू नीड मैन्युफैक्चरिंग. आज हमारे पास है मैन्युफैक्चरिंग. आपको एक डेटा पॉइंट देती हूँ, 20 लाख 20 करोड़ पीपल विल बी एडेड ऑन टू द वर्कर क्लास in the next 2 decades. आज 83 करोड़ है, राइट? सो ये 83 करोड़ की जो जनता है जो काम कर रही है, 20 करोड़ लोग और ऐड होंगे 20 डेकेड में, राइट? बट पॉलिसीज कहाँ है, राइट? विच इज़ वेर यू वर होपिंग कि यार शायद मोदी जी आ जाएंगे वापस विद अ कॉन्स्टेंट बिग मेजॉरिटी, ताकि वो पॉलिसी रिफॉर्म्स आज से चालू करेंगे विच कुड टेक अ डेकेड और सॉर्ट्स टू इम्प्लीमेंट. पर नहीं हो रहा. आज एक सिंपल बिल भी पार्लियामेंट में पास होने के लिए it's a challenge, and I'm
task,
not
yeah.
naming that bill, but all of us kind of know about it, right?
Yeah.
So that is the biggest challenge on the economy front कि आपने सर्विसेज में बहुत अच्छा कर लिया, शायद आप मॉडर्न सर्विसेज में भी जा रहे हो कि मैं बनिया सिस्टर्स यहाँ पे बैठ के एनआरआई का पोर्टफोलियो मैनेज कर रहे हैं या गोरे का पोर्टफोलियो मैनेज कर रहे हैं, मॉडर्न सर्विसेज भी हमने सब संभाल लिया, मैन्युफैक्चरिंग का है और मैन्युफैक्चरिंग नहीं आएगी बिकॉज आज हम सब वाइट कॉलर जॉब्स है। आपको अगर 1 करोड़ का सैलरी दिया जाए बट आपको बोला जाए फैक्ट्री में काम करना है वर्सेस आपको 60 या 70 लाख की सैलरी दी जाए और आपको मॉर्गन स्टैनली का जॉब दिया जाए, आप क्या चूज करोगे? राइट, वी आर सो अलाइंड टू white collar jobs but nobody wants to kind of rub their hands on the factory floor. So ये हुआ इकोनॉमी प्रॉब्लम, गोरे का पैसा नहीं आ रहा है मार्केट से तो जा रहा है, ठीक है। चाइना ने वेरी स्मार्टली बाहर वालों का पैसा अपनी इंडस्ट्रीज में लिया, मार्केट में नहीं लिया। हमने बेवकूफ़ी कर दी कि हमने मार्केट में पैसा लिया, इंडस्ट्रियल ग्रोथ के लिए पैसा नहीं लिया, राइट। स्ट्रक्चरल प्रॉब्लम दैट इंडिया हैज़, दैट इज ऑन द इकोनॉमी पार्ट। मार्केट्स हम बोल रहे हैं रिटेल ने संभाल कर रखा है एंड रिटेल, दिस इज जस्ट मनी दैट इज देयर। 10%, हाँ ठीक है, मार्केट 10% डाउन है, ये लोग कांस्टेंट रहेंगे, 20% पे थोड़ा हिलेगा, वेट करिए जब मार्केट 30% टॉप से गिरेगा। एक SIP और हम जो बोल रहे हैं ना इतनी बड़ी कि ये इतना ग्रोथ हो जाएगा, कोई नहीं SIP करेगा, सब वापस बैंक FD में जाएंगे, राइट। तो कीपिंग दैट पेशेंस at a 30% drop in the market is something that will have huge challenges around that. मार्केट्स में हमने काफ़ी सारा प्रॉफिट तो फ्रंट बुक कर लिया है, राइट। अगर आप देखो मिड और स्मॉल कैप्स लास्ट 6 महीने में अबाउट 25% भागा है, बट उसका अर्निंग्स ग्रोथ 3% हुआ है, राइट। एंड प्राइजेस आर स्लेव्स ऑफ अर्निंग्स, सो इफ अर्निंग्स इज नॉट कमिंग थ्रू एंड वो प्राइस भर गया तो कहीं तो वो मीन रिवर्जन आएगा, राइट। सो वैल्यूएशन स्ट्रेच है, सब स्ट्रेच है, फर्स्ट क्वार्टर के अर्निंग्स हैव बीन नॉट टू गुड, सो it will be a shaky exercise over here, but हमारे पास बेस्ट ऑप्शन ये है कि we are very best placed on the macro front, right? US and China will keep doing that. China population is aging, तो कहीं वो cheap labor के लिए उनको कहीं अगर आप if you just follow that, China has now started investing into Indian companies to manufacture in India, export from India, जो पहले नहीं हो रहा था। क्यों?
China is doing that.
Why? Because उनका labor population shrunk हो रहा है, right? There's just so much deflation over there.
Okay.
तो अभी अगर उसको next big economy ढूंढनी है जहाँ पे वो धंधा दे पाए, so we are the natural choice because of the population that
right.
we
are number one now.
We are number one now. So वो part is positive. Short term things will be a little shaky. Market गिरेगा, opportunistically low, but अभी हम जो पहले as advisors बोलते थे ना 3-year horizon रखो, अगर अभी लंबा बैठ सकते हो तो पैसा लो, अदरवाइज इफ यू आर समबडी हु गेट्स नर्वस then the market will make you more nervous.
So in all it looks good for India.
It looks good for India. हम यहीं पे बैठे हैं, so it looks good for India.
So अभी आजकल ना लोग बहुत बोलते हैं कि US के स्टॉक मार्केट में इन्वेस्ट करना चाहिए. So what do you have to say about that? इंडिया का तो हो रहा नहीं लोगों से बराबर. आई एम श्योर बहुत मिस्टेक्स करते हैं लोग, मेरे दोस्त तो करते हैं कम से कम। सो व्हाट डू यू थिंक अबाउट दोज पीपल हु आर टॉकिंग अबाउट इन्वेस्ट इन US स्टॉक मार्केट?
ओके, सो टू पार्ट्स टू दिस क्वेश्चन अगेन। इन यहाँ पे एक डाइवर्सिफिकेशन का एंगल आया एंड देन अंडरस्टैंडिंग व्हाट यू आर डूइंग, राइट। सो इंडिया इज 3% ऑफ द ग्लोबल GDP, वैसे 90% 97% बाहर है, राइट। सो फ्रॉम अ डाइवर्सिफिकेशन पॉइंट ऑफ व्यू, हाँ राइट, मुझे आउट ऑफ इंडिया या मेरी डोमेस्टिक इकोनॉमी से बाहर इन्वेस्ट करना चाहिए, राइट, नो टू डाउट्स अबाउट दैट। US में क्यों इन्वेस्ट करना चाहिए, राइट। हम वही फोमो ट्रेडर्स होते हैं, हम क्या आप वो रेयर व्यू मिरर देखकर गाड़ी चलाते हैं? आप नहीं चलाते, राइट। बट हम क्यों US में जाते हैं, US टेक में क्यों जाते हैं? बिकॉज हम सिंपल रिटर्न्स देख रहे हैं, एनवीडिया ने इतना दे दिया, वो फेसबुक का ऐसा हो गया, अमेजोन का ऐसा हो गया, ये कंपनीज अच्छी है बिकॉज हमेशा चलेगी, AI इज़ द न्यू थिंग, मेरे फ्रेंड ने बोला एनवीडिया में डालो तो मैंने एनवीडिया में पैसा डाल दिया। तो वही सेम इंडिया मार्केट प्रॉब्लम आ जाता है कि हम इन्वेस्ट तो करते पर हम समझ नहीं रहे हैं कि हमें एक्चुअली किस में इन्वेस्ट करना चाहिए, That
Right.
is the problem. That is the bigger problem. Second reason why you should invest into US stocks, शायद हमारे बच्चे बाहर पढ़ने जाएंगे. हम तो इंडिया में थे, but we are all aspirational middle class. तो
Right.
एक pyramid आया था which said that next decade में जो upper middle class वाले हैं या higher and upper middle class, इनका population increase होगा, and your lower middle class and people beyond that, इनका population decrease होगा, right? So we'll be aspirational people. Obviously, some of us will aspire to send our next generation abroad, right?
Definitely, yeah.
तब तो पैसे लगेंगे,
Hmm.
तो वो पैसे के इंतजाम आपको आज से करना चाहिए, डेफिनेटली करना चाहिए. But why US? Why is nobody talking about Japan?
Yeah.
Why is nobody talking? Well, China aside, let me not get that into Saudi के बारे में क्यों लोग नहीं बात कर रहे? Why US, right? So वो bias हो जाता है आपका recency bias. उसको आप recency bias बोलते हैं हमारे टर्म में, saying that कि आपने past performance देखा, what if US does not end up being a reserve currency? ब्रिटेन के साथ हुआ था, ब्रिटेन वाज नो लॉन्गर अ रिजर्व करेंसी बिकॉज उनका डेट ओवरशूट हो गया. आज यूएस में भी वही हो रहा है. यूएस डेट लेवल्स आर एट सच हाई कि उनका जो फिस्कल में ब्याज का खर्चा है, राइट? अगर आप फिस्कल बनाते हो, गवर्नमेंट अपनी बैलेंस शीट बनाती है कि मैं सब्सिडी इतना दूंगा, मेरे ब्याज का खर्चा इतना होगा, मैं डिफेंस में इतना खर्चा करने वाला हूँ. पहली बार उनका जो ब्याज का खर्चा है वो डिफेंस स्पेंडिंग से हायर आया है. ब्याज इज नॉट प्रोडक्टिव खर्चा, राइट? आप किसी चीज पे इंटरेस्ट दे रहे हो, दैट इज नॉट प्रोडक्टिव. दैट्स अ वेरी बिग रेड फ्लैग. इसीलिए शायद उन्होंने इंटरेस्ट रेट कट किया है, राइट? सो डाइवर्सिफाई, बट व्हाई यूएस? अच्छा ठीक है, चलो यूएस नहीं लिया तो करूँ क्या? कहाँ से लूँ? यूएस में 2000 ETF है. अगर आपको जापान लेना है, आप यूएस में बैठकर जापान का एक ETF ले सकते हो लो कॉस्ट. आप टर्की का ETF ले सकते हो. टर्की इज द मिडल मैन, राइट? बिटवीन द ईस्ट एंड वेस्ट. जो हम झगड़ा करते हैं ना, ईस्ट वेस्ट, टर्की तो मिडल मैन है. मिडल मैन हर एक चीज में सर्वाइव करता है, करेक्ट? सऊदी में कितना डेवलपमेंट. आप सऊदी का ETF ले सकते हो एक यूएस के प्लेटफॉर्म से, राइट? एंड इंडिया में बैठकर आप वो प्लेटफॉर्म डीमैट अकाउंट खोल सकते हो, राइट? सो इन्वेस्ट, बट डोंट इन्वेस्ट बाय द फोमो ट्रेड. अगर आज कंट्रीज झगड़ा कर रही है, मिसाइल हैपनिंग, हमने वो व्हाट्सएप पे एक आई थिंक पोस्ट देखा होगा कि वो प्लेन का रूट डाइवर्ट हो रहा है, ईरान के ऊपर से प्लेन्स नहीं जा रही है, ऊपर से जा रही है. आई एम श्योर शिपिंग रूट्स भी डाइवर्ट हो रहे हैं. तो आप तो ट्रांसपोर्टेशन ETF भी ले सकते हो. ट्रांसपोर्टेशन का खर्चा बढ़ने वाला है कंपनीज के लिए, राइट? सो देयर आर लॉट ऑफ नोवेल आइडियाज टू इन्वेस्ट इनटू नॉन डोमेस्टिक थिंग, बट just buying US Nvidia or any other these tech stocks by recency, that's not the right way of doing that.
No, but also like we spoke about the pet care ETF a
Yeah.
few days back. So there's a study that a lot of couples these days are preferring pets than having kids, especially in the US. So that's a trend that's coming up. And there's this ETF, or let's just say a mutual fund, right, where they hold all the pet care companies. जो पेट का खाना बना रही है, जो भी है, like all these companies, and there's an ETF over there which currently is not there in India. So from that angle as well, not only investing in Turkey and Saudi, but you can also invest in a pet care ETF over there. Wow. So the level of diversification that they have in terms of their ETF is actually unmatched.
I mean, anything that you can think of, they have an ETF. They have a instrument on that, and very low cost, very liquid. वो अगर आपको 30-50 bips में ETF मिल रहा है, why go for the jazz?
So the fundamentals are same when you go to invest over there in their company. The process is same.
The process
how you
is
follow
same.
it over here.
Exactly, the process is same. Only that obviously data is everything online. We prefer ETFs or passives more over direct companies because obviously it's too much to track. How do you track the growth and etc.? So ETF is a simple passive way of investing over there. On the pet care point, आज में बजाज इंश्योरेंस दे रहा है on pets.
No, I didn't know that.
So
On pets,
on pets, that's the way India is also adopting.
Even other companies are giving it. I think I'm missing out on the name.
I'm sure.
But yeah.
Swiggy पे you can order I think pet food, and I saw it couple of days back, and I was just wondering, it really, I mean, pets का खाना आज मैं
included.
apps में
That must be on that Instamart.
I'm sure. So one of these apps where I saw that you can really order pet food. So this industry is growing. How do I invest into India? I'll have to find some startup who's doing something over there. So वहाँ पे आपके पास everything that you can think of is there on this thing. So diversify, but be a little smarter on that.
So these wars which are happening right now, you see, they also tend to affect a lot on the market, right?
Yeah.
So how does that work? Like, people say, अरे अभी तो market ये हो जाएगा, वो हो जाएगा. But technically किसी को पता नहीं है क्या होता है exactly.
हाँ, exactly,
हाँ,
right.
war में.
हाँ.
Now in terms of war which is happening in Iraq and Iran, or example this Russia versus Ukraine. So what impact does it have?
You
And has India got to do anything with that? Because definitely somewhere we are also aligned with them.
somewhere you get linked. So the first order effect is people just start swearing on gold. कि वो war हो रहा है, सोना ले लो. Second order effect is your consumption. So एक न्यूज़पेपर आर्टिकल था कि सूरत में लोग जो डायमंड पॉलिशर्स होते हैं ना, वो सुसाइड कर रहे हैं. रीज़न बिकॉज आपका काफ़ी सारा जो डायमंड पॉलिशिंग था वो इफेक्ट हो गया. काफ़ी सारा जो डायमंड्स आता था वो रशिया यूक्रेन के टाइम पे इफेक्ट हुआ था. देन अभी जो ईरान का वॉर हुआ है उसके टाइम पे भी इफेक्ट हो रहा है. सो दे आर लूजिंग आउट ऑन देयर मनी. पहले जो आपको 50-60 हज़ार रुपए मिल जाते थे वो 15-20 हज़ार मिल रहे हैं. सो देयर इज अ फेमस आर्टिकल दैट यू कैन सी कि डायमंड पॉलिशर सूरत में जो हब है अपना,
हब है या
people are suiciding over there, right? तो कहीं ना कहीं तो इफेक्ट आता है. दूसरा सबसे बेसिक इफेक्ट है एग्री है. हर एक कंट्री कुछ इंपोर्ट करता है, कुछ एक्सपोर्ट करता है, बीट राइस और समथिंग. तो वो आपको एक सेकेंड ऑर्डर इफेक्ट देगा कि कहीं ना कहीं एग्री चेन में आपका मिस होगा. थर्ड इज ऑब्वियसली कॉस्ट. आपके शिपिंग लाइंस मूव हो जाएंगे. सो एडिशनल
ऑयल इज वेरी क्रूशियल.
ऑयल इज वेरी क्रूशियल. अपने लिए आज हम ऑलमोस्ट 70 के आसपास है. एक $20 इंक्रीज भी ऑयल में कैन अफेक्ट अस वेरी बैडली. जो हम बोल रहे हैं ना बॉन्ड इंक्लूजन होगा, गोरे का पैसा आएगा बॉन्ड मार्केट में, वो $20 पूरा खत्म कर देगा. विल मेक इट जीरो. तो क्रूड हैज ऑलवेज बीन अ पेन पॉइंट फॉर समबडी लाइक अस.
Okay, what about estate planning in India? What do you think people should do and they are not doing?
So, estate planning as a topic is something that most of us avoid. Even your savvy financial advisors will probably not talk about it.
Yeah.
But all of us in our family or friends have seen one or two such cases where, the parent has passed away, or there is some issue in the family where over your estate, over the past person's estate, right?
Yeah.
And that is very common. But now, a lot of savvy investors, people who have money, or in our language, the ultra HNIs, have understood the real meaning to plan your estate very well, right? Because one successful businessman of that stature will probably not have one business. They'll have multiple businesses with kids. Let me take Mr. Mukesh Ambani's example, right? His father did not have a will. He passed away without planning his estate. Of what I have read in the papers, his idea was that my kids will stay together, earn together, live together, right? Your typical Indian family. However, we know what happened yesterday, and they actually dragged the entire thing to court. What Mukesh has done, Mr. Mukesh Ambani, is he's already, given the estate, or rather, bifurcated it to the 3 kids that, he is going to do that, she is going to be in retail, and the third child is going to do this. Right? So, a lot of savvy investors are doing that. There is no wealth tax or estate tax in India. So, today, if parents were to pass off, as per Hindu, act of succession, the property or whatever, the money goes to the kids, daughter and son alike now. And that is how it is divided, right? So, that is something that is your law under Hindu Succession Act. However, in USA, there is a estate tax of 40%. So, in US, if a scenario like this were to happen, where an estate is passing from the parents to the child, a 40% tax needs to be paid, which is not there in India today.
So, there's no tax at all?
No.
Yet.
So, yet. I was coming to that, yet. High chances we might have this in the coming years, high chances. But today, ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. Estate planning is very important. It is one of the most crucial things, because आपने पैसे तो बना लिए. If you don't know how to live with it, or we have Mr. Singhania's example, where he in his very good faith gave his estate to his kids while he was still alive, and we know the case. We know what's happening with him today. Estate planning is very important. You can write your wills, right? You can, if your case is not very complicated, you think you have a loving family, just write a will. It can be written on a plain piece of paper with 2 witnesses, and that is about it. You do not have to take it to the registrar and get it registered. No, that's not required. So something as simple as that can happen, or something as a little complex like getting a private trust done for the family, right? There is this couple who are probably not very happy together. The wife has moved out. There's this divorce in the scene, but there are kids. The wife is remarried and she has children now. A lot of cases over here. The man has gotten ahead and he's gotten married to somebody. Now he has his kids from the second wife. How do you really distribute it? Right? How do you really distribute this? They don't really know. And so, in such scenarios, getting a trust in place really helps to distribute it.
So that financial planning should be there of
हाँ.
after life.
So normally
what's
हम
gonna be.
nominees बना देते हैं, right?
Right.
कि ये investment में इसको nominee बना दिया.
अगर आपको लग रहा है आपने नॉमिनी बना दिया तो हो गया. If tomorrow
Correct.
something happens to you, नॉमिनी को पैसा, but वैसा नहीं है. Most of them don't know about it.
Exactly.
Nominee
So
does
nominee
not
thing doesn't
know.
So
No.
client used a very good word. He said nominees are postman.
They are postman.
So then what is the role of a nominee then?
As per the rule, nominee is somebody who, if at all the person who's made you the nominee passes away, nominee's job is to just pass on that asset to the legal heir. That's it. Right? So if the father were to pass away without the wife, so father is there and a third person is a nominee, इसका ये मतलब नहीं है nominee को पैसा मिल गए चलो ठीक है, everybody is happy. No. The nominee is supposed to pass on that asset to the legal heir, the children or whoever comes next. Nominee
he's
का
just
ये
a
काम है.
mediator.
Exactly. Nominee का बस वो काम है.
Nominee का सिर्फ वही रोल होता है. He's just a mediator. Legal है either as per will. ये तो bill में जो लोग हैं उसके हिसाब से आप अपने assets distribute करें. If there is no will, then you go back to the Indian Succession Act.
Oh, this was something which I was not aware of. Nominee.
Nominee.
Because usually people talk about nominee only.
Nominee को पैसे चले जाते हैं.
Nominee.
Challenge होता है कि जब जो legal है उसने contest कर दिया कि ये जो nominee को पैसा मिला है वो गलत है. अगर वो contest हो गया court में तो फिर the case lost. Otherwise banks don't care. They will give the money to nominee.
Right.
Until nobody is contesting and everything is hunky dory.
Hmm.
But जिस दिन contest हो गया and it is proved that this is not as per the will or as per the Indian Succession Act, you get back to the legal heir then.
Okay. Thank you so much, guys, for coming in. It was definitely very informative, and I'm sure people are going to get a lot of good knowledge out of this.
I'm sure
And-
we loved it.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Even and thank you so much. And I know we have cancelled it a couple of times. But finally we made it.
Yes.
So thank you so much for being a part of this.
Thank you.
Lovely.
Thank you so
Thanks
much.
for inviting us.
Thank you.